Hey, good morning. Hey, y'all. Hey, raw to the bone. Oh my God. So, I'm here making my coffee. Hold on. Just get my cream and my sugar. Don't talk about me. I know. Listen. Oh, I forgot my fan. Everyone knows that I need this. Okay, the hot flashes are real. Ignore my voice. I just woke up. I'm trying to get myself together. It's 8 o'clock. I have to try to log on to work soon. But first, I need my coffee. I need to wake up. Um, so, I'm going to drink my coffee, but I thought of a funny story this morning. I posted a little cover about my dad and how we had a blended family. And it was true, but we didn't understand that it was blended at the time. So when I mentioned that I have, not had, I have four brothers. I have one brother that I share with my mom, right? I'm sitting on the couch today, I'm tired. And I have three brothers, my dad, and then I have two stepsisters, but he never liked to use the term stepsisters. And he raised both of them. And all of us are still close to this very day. I mean, we didn't have the baby mama drama, as I mentioned, that a lot of people have today. It's really weird. In my family, we actually still do family gatherings and all the exes pop in and out. Nobody really cares. If you have kids in our family, you're family. And you're forever family. As long as you don't act ratchet. That's the thing. Like, don't act ratchet. Like, it should always just be about the kids, not about adults. So with my dad, growing up, I used to get dropped off with Pat. That was my first stepmom. And I remember my mother used to bring me over there, and Pat opened up her door as if it was no big deal. And they got along just fine. It was hilarious because my mother was like, Pat was really your dad's first love, but he married me probably because I was pregnant. But you know what? That's honest. But even though she knew that, okay, when her and my dad was separated, not even legally divorced, separated, um, and he ended up with Pat. I don't know if my mother held any hostility toward that, but that's the point. I didn't know. Key. Shelter your kids, okay? Kids should never be involved in adult drama. And when I was growing up, I used to be angry with my dad because I didn't understand his absenteeism in the home. But when I look back, I have respect for him because I know so many people who can't have a blended family, right? And what I mean by that is you have to have respect for other people's children, okay? These children are innocent of divorce, separation, whatever the case may be. So, growing up, I lived with my mom full time. I spent summers with my dad, Pat, my first stepmom, a lot of the times. And then when he started dating Frederica, we called her Freddie. He was with her the longest. Oh my God, I loved her. I stayed with them. Now, Freddie, she had two daughters. Ani and June. Those are my sisters. Again, my stepsisters, but we got in trouble for saying that. But he raised us all. We were together. It was all or none. We got beat together. I mean, if one get in trouble, we all get in trouble. That was the deal. Okay. We had a dog that we all had to share walking. I remember this damn dog. Dog's name was Satan. The biggest German Shepherd I ever remember seeing. And he was mean as fuck. Okay, and I was the youngest one. And he used to be like, go walk the dog, go walk the dog. And I used to be like, Dad, I can't walk this dog. This dog gonna drag me all over the Bronx. Okay, he didn't give a shit. He was like, go walk the dog. So here I go. I go walk Satan. I don't know if Ani and June walked him. They probably did, because we all, I know they did. But I can't remember if Satan did them like he did me. But Satan used to drag my ass down the street and bite whoever he can get to. Now back then, you got bit and you kept it the fuck moving. Nobody called the cops. Nobody was knocking on doors, complaining. You got the fuck bit. You kept it moving. So I would tell my dad, oh my God, Dad, Satan dragged me down the block. He bit somebody. And he would say to me, they know not to knock on my door. I was like, oh my God, these people getting bit up in the neighborhood by this damn dog. Nobody can say nothing. That was fun. That was a mean ass dog. Eventually my dad had to put the dog to sleep because he not only was mean to everybody else, but he ultimately got mean with my dad, so he had to put him out. But anyway, back to the blended family. So, my grandmother, my dad's mom, that's my heart. She was, because she's deceased, well, my dad is deceased too, the monarch of the family. So I can see where he got the basic principles from, as far as, all his kids are equal, right? That was the thing. All his kids was equal, and his women understood that. I don't understand women that don't accept other people's kids, right, as part of a family. I'm not accustomed to it. I never had that issue with I never really dated my husband right now. He has 4 children, and they come here when they want. I don't mistreat them or anything like that. I don't understand people who mistreat kids. They're innocent. They don't have nothing to do with adult drama. So back to my dad and these stories. One of the things, I said he treated us all equal, right? I remember one time we got in trouble. Me, Ani, and June. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly what we did. But whatever it is we did, my dad lined us up and he was asking who did whatever it is we did. And nobody wanted to tell. So the rule of thumb in the house was, you all gonna get beat. Yeah, I mean, come on. Today's times, people calling the cops for people to get beat. Cops for a beating. Fuck that. We got our ass whipped. I'm here. I'm alive. So anyway, got beat. Took our asses in the room. Here I go. I'm the one. The littlest one. Smallest one. I said something. And bionic ears on my dad's head heard me. And he flew in that room and he said, who said so-and-so? And Ani and June must have said, fuck that. We're not getting beat again. They probably don't even remember this story. Maybe they do. They pointed to me. I was like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. God damn it, I'm in trouble. What came next? Another ass whipping. But this time I was in it alone. hurt. I think that's the last time I got in trouble with my dad. I mean, not in trouble, but the last time I got a beating. I think he got tired after that. He probably said, listen, fuck these girls. Whatever. So I learned my lesson, and needless to say, I didn't stop talking shit behind my father's back. But what I did learn was to talk a little shit, a little bit quieter. So I did that. I whispered my bullshit. Okay? Yep. So, beyond that, I also remember the weekends in the Bronx. Oh my God. Was it Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings? No, definitely Saturday mornings. The rule of thumb was we had to get up. We either had to stand on a line. We had to stand on the line for lunch. I think it was at the church. And we used to stand on this line. Me and my sisters used to stand on this line to get these free lunches. And I remember the sandwiches, they used to have this thick peanut butter clumped onto the bread and a little bit of jelly. And they give you some milk or whatever the case may be. But that was free lunch. I mean, we grew up poor. No shame in my game. Everybody got a story. Mine is I grew up poor. So we had to go for the free lunch on Saturday. It was too expensive to feed 3 greedy-ass kids on a weekend. So we go stand in this church line, get our lunch every Saturday. Whenever it wasn't that line, it was the cheese line to go get the cheese or whatever it is we did. But the key thing is we did it together as sisters. We didn't share the same blood, but we did it together. Because that's how my dad fostered our relationship. And my dad has been deceased for a few years now, and my sisters, they still reach out to me every now and again on social media, okay? But the amazing thing is that their children still call me auntie. And I wasn't even around their children because we had gotten separated. They moved down south, and, you know, times got busy, and we just didn't keep in touch as often as we should. But the mere fact that whenever their children reach out to me, they call me auntie. They let their kids know that I'm their aunt. I mean, it's a level of respect there. Oh, wait, I'm hot. I'm having a hot flash. Wait a minute. I gotta turn my heat off. I'm sorry, guys. Come with me for a minute. All right. Let me just turn my heat off. I gotta turn my heat off. All right. See my bike? I gotta get on that shit at some point today. But anyway, and let me grab my fan, cause life in the 50s. This is the fan. I gotta cool off. Oh, give me a second. Oh my God, this is the best fan, okay? I know I'm telling the story, but I would tell my husband that I feel like I'm going to pass out on the bus. And one day I came home and he gave me this. I never, ever parted from this thing, okay? I love this thing. This is the best thing ever. All right, but back to my family dynamic. So anyway, their children have a level of respect that filtered down from the teachings of my dad. Now, my dad didn't have everything. He didn't have a lot of money. He had no money. Okay? I used to be upset because I didn't understand his absence. And it didn't click to me until I got older and started to understand the adult responsibilities in life, just anything related to adult emotions, us being humans, us making mistakes, not making the right decisions. And he didn't make a lot of good decisions. But I'm grateful for the things that he taught as far as the basis of family. Like, no matter how much money you have, how little money you have, whether you are blood related or not, if you are deemed family, then that's what you are. And there's a level of respect. Now, my mom and my dad, I remember my mom, she used to talk shit about my dad all the time. My dad, though, he never talked anything negative about my mom. His whole thing was, she's still my wife. I didn't sign no divorce papers. She's still my wife. Now, that's another story, but I guess that's a whole other story. You know, whatever. I'll tell that story another time about their divorce. But my dad didn't really claim their divorce. He said he didn't sign the papers. So as far as he's concerned, my mom was still his wife. Okay? And everyone had a healthy respect for that. But they were legally divorced. My mother couldn't wait to get out that marriage. But my dad, he hung on to the fact that he was still married. And guess what? Freddie didn't let that bother her. If she did, I'm not going to say she didn't let that bother her, but if she did, I never saw it. I never did. And these are the things that I didn't appreciate growing up. I remember hanging around my cousins and being around them when they had their mother and their father in the same house. I used to be so upset I cried many nights. And I was like, why can't my parents be together? Why can't they have love like this? And I always thought that it was something negative on me. But as I got older, especially after I had my own son, I started to realize, you know what? People separating, not getting along, it doesn't always have to do with the kids. Most times it doesn't even have to do with the kids. It has to do with some adult bullshit that happened, and they decided that they didn't want to be together. But oftentimes kids don't understand that when we're growing up, we take on the blame. We're thinking, oh my God, what happened? Why doesn't he want to be here? Or whatever. But I'm going to tell you, I always had access to my dad. I always had access to my dad. I didn't have to ask permission to go to his house. I didn't have to call first. I didn't have to do none of that. I could just show up, knock on the door, and Freddie, my stepmom, will open the door. Hi, Robin. Let me in. It wouldn't be no issue. My dad had a 1-bedroom apartment. Okay? Well, he had a 2-bedroom at one time, but I'm just going to go down and explain the 1-bedroom apartment scenario. By this time, my stepsisters were gone. And, depending on my situation in Queens, I would just bounce back and forth to the Bronx between my grandmother's house, my dad's house, whatever. But this particular time, my dad had a 1-bedroom apartment, and now my brother was born, Kazim. And if I showed up at my dad's house, they would never say, there's not enough space. Never. Ever. Never. Never. We make space. And not only were humans living there, but my father was a big pet person. So at any given time, they could have multiple cats, a pit bull or two, whatever the case may be. But I was never told, there's not enough room for you. These dads today, and some of these moms today, they need to get lessons from the throwback parents. Okay? These kids today, well, I'm not going to say these kids, but these parents today, the drama is completely unnecessary. So, I mean, this is probably why I am the type of person I am today, with all of my grandchildren. I have 3 grandchildren. I've mentioned that before. And they are across 3 different women. My son. I love all them grandbabies. Okay? And I just want to say, the fan, I left my fan at Chunk's house last night. And we all know that Chunk's mom and I are close. She dropped this fan off for me this morning. Oh, and my bagel. So, y'all know I'm close with her. And Amaya, she's 18. But I'm close with her mom, too. Aries, that's my little mom. I don't get to spend as much time with Aries. Her mother. I really try. Aries' mom. I have to stop. Anyway, that's another story. But know this. My dad's teachings didn't float down completely to my son. Because if it did, if he took anything away from my dad, another story. But back to my dad. So, my dad was a funny character. He was a part of the Black Panthers, you know. Afro fist pumping days, yeah. And then eventually he rolled into a gang. So I come from hard knocks, gang bangers, roughnecks. Even my mom was rough. So, I'm soft compared to them. I am. I don't fight. I might curse your ass out. But I don't really like to fight. But anyway, my mom and my dad, that's a whole different story. But, he rolled through the gang life. This was before I knew. These are stories that they told me by the time I was old enough and consciously aware to understand what my dad was doing. He wasn't doing any of those things. But he did have a past. And I can see where, he might have done these things because he always had this way about him, an authoritative way about him. He had his moments where he was laughing and he was good, but shit, when he wasn't, you knew. Don't push no buttons. Don't push no buttons. We didn't disrespect our parents. We didn't talk back. Now, I started talking back when I got grown, once I had my own kid. But I would talk back from a distance because I didn't know if this man was going to get up and start swinging or whatever the case may be. Again, we were from the old school. We wasn't from that timeout period, go sit in the corner and time out. We were from the days of, I'ma fuck your ass up, point blank period. So a good stare was the warning. And I knew, shut the fuck up. And I did. Okay? So, my dad. I miss him. It was very sad when he started going downhill from being sick. He had some cancer, cirrhosis of the liver. He was an alcoholic. It's funny because I used to be like, Dad, you're an alcoholic. He used to be like, no, I'm not. I ain't no fucking alcoholic. All I drink is beer. And I was like, oh. He almost got me. He almost got me growing up because I was like, wait a minute. Okay, maybe you're not an alcoholic because you drink beer and not vodka? Fuck that. Old English was like drinking gasoline from the gas pump directly. How I know? I tasted it a few times. I remember the one time he left his beer in a glass. He poured it. He used to buy the big 40 ounce. And he poured it in the glass and had the 40 ounce bottle sitting there. And it was some beer in the glass. And he went in the kitchen. And I said, oh, shoot, let me run over there and drink some of his beer. Y'all don't judge me, okay? I'm not living back there no more. But anyway, I put that glass to my mouth so fast and tried to gulp the shit down. Then I felt something crawling on my face. I fucking hollered. It was a roach. Hell no, I hollered. My dad flew from the kitchen into the living room, and I'm slapping up my face, and he's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And he see his beer is spilled all over the place. And I'm screaming, a roach was on my face. Well, honey, he must have laughed so damn hard and told me that's what I get for putting my lips on his glass. And then he told me to go sit the fuck down. I was so upset. I was traumatized. I bet you I never put my lip on his glass again. That doesn't mean I didn't try to sip any more beer. But I didn't put my mouth on his glass again because I was just traumatized. Now, he didn't punish me necessarily for drinking the beer. He laughed at me and told me to go sit the fuck down. Now, he didn't say, don't drink my shit no more, blah, 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 you're on punishment for drinking my shit. Nope. He didn't. Nope. And every time I got in trouble or did something silly, you know what, the one thing I remember? I don't ever remember Freddie punishing me. I don't ever remember her saying anything to me to punish me. But she did all the cooking, the cleaning, the whatever. I don't ever remember her scolding me. I don't remember Pat scolding me either. But I came and went as I pleased. And not one time did she say anything negative. And that's why today, in today's society, and I see people with baby mama dramas and stuff like that, I say to myself, the temperature of the relationship is with the adults, right? Wouldn't you say? As long as the adults have mutual respect for one another, right, they should be able to co-parent effectively. It shouldn't be about what you did to me in the past, who you cheated on with me in the past. Shouldn't be none of that. The stepmothers shouldn't dislike the kids because they're from a different mother. That's just retarded. Like, these kids don't have nothing to do with anything. Oh, and the other thing that burns me is when I went home, if I went home and I said, Ma, so-and-so did something to me when I was little, my mother would be dressed, ice picking bag, ready to chop motherfuckers up. No questions asked. Okay? I'm her kid. Now, thank God we never had those problems with any of my dad's women. And I say any of my dad's women, but there was two that I knew, and that was Pat and Freddie. Those are the only two I care about. Those are where my siblings came from. Now, I know I'm only talking about those three brothers. I do have another brother, Tony. Oh my God. Y'all know. Tony. That's my mom's second child. He has a different father, and I did mention that in that summary about my dad. But the funny thing is, my brother and I have the same last name. Tony Johnston, Robin Johnston. That's my maiden name. Now y'all know. My mother never legally changed her name back to her maiden name. So she legally still has my dad's last name. So when my brother was born, even though my dad didn't sign the birth certificate, her last name was legally Johnston, so she decided to name him Johnston. Yes, he knows his dad and his dad's family, but that was my mother's choice for whatever reason. And guess what? My dad didn't care. He knew. I used to tease my dad every now and again. Hey, Dad, you got another son out there. Johnston is his last name. And my dad was like, cool, whatever. Didn't bother him. You know, in today's times, we worry about so much instead of just pouring into our children to the best that we can. We worry about such minor things at times. Um, yeah, he doesn't mind. So me and my brother have the same last name, and my mom. I mean, my legal last name is White. I know it's a bit confusing because my maiden name is Johnston. My legal last name is White. My current husband's last name is Etienne. But I like White because that's where I get Raw from. Raw is actually, those are my initials, and I love it. I mean, I could do something with Etienne as well. I can be a ray of sunshine, but Raw is something that sticks with me. Some of my friends call me Raw. My best friend, that's all she calls me. She is actually the one who started calling me Raw, and it just stuck. So now a lot of people started calling me Raw. So I use that a lot. I play off of my initials, but those are my initials, and I love them. So my legal last name is White, but for the point of the story, my brother and I have the same last name. So all of my brothers have the same last name, right? And nobody makes a big deal out of any of that. So to this day, we all get together, family events. I normally do family events with my mom and Tony. And my mother comes to events for my father's side of the family. Every year we do a luncheon for my grandmother who is deceased, my dad's mom. And my mother comes. The exes sit at the table like it's no big deal, and nobody cares. Right? So, I mean, the moral of this story is, well, there's really no moral. There is, but you can pick it up for yourself. But the basis of this story is, I came from, a set of parents who decided to divorce very early, and even though we had very hard times, both my parents were struggling. We were definitely raised poor. I used to cry when my mom used to be like, "We're poor, we're poor." I used to be like, "Don't say that, don't say that." Oh. But when I look back, we were poor as far as money is concerned, but definitely rich when it came to love and the unity of family. And that's why I am the way I am. I have become a caretaker for my family, but it's not a position that I plan to take. It's just something that I do based on what I've learned from the structure that my parents have placed on me. They placed this structure on me unknowingly. And so I love being here for my grandchildren. And I want to see my grandchildren grow up with the same experience that I had. You might not have all share the same mom, but you share the same dad, okay? And that should be key. And dad should make sure that all of his kids are equally treated fairly, equally loved across the board. These things are going to penetrate into these kids. They're going to carry this into their own lives at some point. That's the key, right? We're teaching them how to be parents. I know they taught me. When it was my turn to become a parent, unplanned, I didn't know how to raise a child. I didn't know how to love anything. I was still trying to figure out how to love myself. But I think what my dad instilled in me and what my mom instilled in me unknowingly, because I don't think they knew exactly what they were planting in me, but unknowingly they created a person, me, that cares and that puts family first under every circumstance. And so when my family is going through a struggle, it bothers me. So the baby mama drama, the thing with my father, I thought about that story because, and I mentioned in there that this is a current situation in my life. Of course, everybody knows I don't have any little kids, so it's not me having any baby mama drama. But, you know, my son, listen, I told him, I remember telling him, do not have multiple baby mothers. And when he had the second child, which is Chunk, it was a blessing because this was years after Amaya. So I was like, okay, it's time to have another child or whatever. But then when years went on and he moved on, and I remember saying to him, don't have any more. You are fortunate right now. You have great women that are taking care of your children. Don't have any more, because you might get that one that don't work out so well. We entered that realm. So we have 3 children. And I'm not fond of how the third mother is acting. I only support blended families. I don't support nothing else. If you don't have the respect enough to care for the children above the nonsense and the bullshit, then I don't have the respect enough to give you respect. I can't do it. I try. I cannot do it. Okay? Everybody knows. When I was raising my son, I didn't give a shit what he did. You couldn't fuck with him. I would quit a man, quit a friend. I don't give a damn what you did. You couldn't fuck with my kid. Wrong or right, he was my kid. You could not fuck with him. I don't let nobody from the outside come in and fuck with my kid. Facts. So, when you fuck with my grandkids, baby, don't do it. So, she need to get on board. She ain't on board right now, and I'm not very happy, because that's not the way of our family. That's not where we come from. We don't understand shit like that. Okay? We don't. And my son better get it together, because my dad is probably rolling around in the grave right now. Yes, Madiba Mustafa, Mogai, calm down, relax. Don't roll over too much. Yes, that's his name. His real name is Ralph. But, you know, it's funny because that's my dad's name, Ralph. Ralph Colerain Johnston. But if you ever said that in his face, oh my God, you might hear his mouth for days and days and days nonstop, cursing you out. My dad changed his name when I was young, so I just knew him as Mo God. This is something, they either called him Red, that was his street name, Red, okay? He was high yellow. I guess he turned red when he was mad, I don't know. Red, and then Mo God. And I said to my dad, Mo God? The hell is that? And he was like, I legally changed my name. Okay? Madiba Mustafa Mo God was on his social security card. Actually, it was some other names in there. I can't even remember them. I think Colerain. Colerain is his middle name. He did keep that. So it was like a Mustafa, Madiba, Colerain, something Mo God. Listen, we stuck it at Mo God. Okay? But I love my dad. And I miss him. And I appreciate all the things that he's taught me. And I wish they rolled on to my son, but it must have skipped him somewhere. Hopefully some rock will hit him upside the head and he'll wake the fuck up and do the right thing. But until then, we'll just have more stories to tell. But that baby mama drama, that's going to be a whole nother story. That one's going to get me in trouble. But hey, I'm here to tell a story. No filters, real shit. This is my life, okay? Many people think that I live this comfortable life or whatever, and I do now. But shit, I came from hard knocks. Don't let my current zip code and my lifestyle confuse you because I came from the trenches, okay? I clean up well, okay? I clean up well, but I came from the trenches. I was never ghetto, but I was in the ghetto, okay? And I know how to survive ghetto situations, okay? Thanks to my mom and my dad. But today's story was around my dad. There's going to be more stories about him. I got some other shit like how I was mad at him and didn't want him to walk me down the aisle for my wedding when I married my first husband, but that's another story. But he walked me down the aisle because my family don't play that shit. You have respect. Something some of these new kids, new young adults don't get. But anyway, what time is it? Oh, listen. I know I've been doing this video, but I got work to do. You know, I'm working from home. I still gotta log on. So, more stories to come. I'm leaving for now, but not going forever. Raw to the bone. Peace.